At exactly 11:59 p.m., the old radio in Kabir's room turned on by itself. It wasn't even plugged into the wall. Static filled the air, followed by a calm voice that said, "You still have time." Kabir sat up in bed, confused. The radio had belonged to his grandfather and hadn't worked in years. He walked closer and tapped it. The static stopped. Silence. He shook his head and went back to sleep. The next night, at the same time, the radio clicked on again. "You're wasting it," the voice said softly. This time, Kabir unplugged the power strip completely and placed the radio inside his cupboard. At 11:59 p.m., from inside the cupboard, the static returned. 3 days left. His heartbeat quickened. He pulled the radio out and inspected it carefully. No batteries, no wires connected, nothing that explained the sound. The next morning, he couldn't focus at work. 3 days left, echoed in his mind. 3 days for what? He wasn't sick. He wasn't in trouble. That evening, he found an old notebook where he had once written a goal. Apply for a music scholarship abroad. The deadline was in 3 days. He had completely forgotten. At 11:59 p.m., the radio turned on again. 2 days left. Kabir didn't panic this time. He opened his laptop and began filling out the application he had been avoiding for months. The following night, the voice said, "1 day left." He recorded his audition piece and submitted everything minutes before the deadline. At 11:59 p.m. on the final night, the radio clicked on one last time. No static, no voice, just silence. The next morning, sunlight filled his room. The radio sat quietly on the table, ordinary and lifeless again. Weeks later, Kabir received an email. He had been accepted into the program. That night, he waited in his room at 11:59 p.m., staring at the radio, hoping to hear the voice again. It never turned on. Slowly, he smiled, realizing something simple. The radio had never been counting down to an ending. It had been counting down to a decision.